Hello everybody, this is Tartarus again, and I'm back with my continuation of my God of War through Chaos Mode walkthrough. This is part 11, Tartarus, where Hephaestus has decided to send us off on a little quest into Tartarus, where we need to retrieve something called the Omphalos Stone, where he'll use it to craft us a new weapon, which is going to be the Nemesis Whip. And honestly, as much as I like the Nemesis Whip, it really only has a couple of uses that I'm going to explain to later on in the series, but this is basically his attempt to try and throw Kratos off to make sure that he doesn't get to Pandora, because he wants to keep her safe, although I would argue being trapped in a cage with Zeus and keeping her there for eternity is not much in the way of living, so we're trying to free her, and if this is what helps, then Kratos will go along with it. This encounter here can be a little rough, but the safest thing you can do is just grab a hold of one of these skeleton dudes and use them as battering rams. If you noticed that just before, if you're at a certain distance away from the Centaur, he will do a back kick towards you. You can also tell when there's little shards of armor on his legs that get shredded. That's a way of saying that he's a little bit of the way through being killed. Sometimes he'll charge at you, most of the time he won't, he'll just send out the little guys after you. There'll be a couple of archers in the back, so just be careful of them. You can't really do any traditional combos in this because there's just no room for it. But if you really want to, and you get sick of all these enemies, just drop an army of Sparta down on them. As much as I don't really like it, it's still going to be useful for this one encounter here, and it weakens a lot of the enemies as well. So you just keep grabbing them as much as you can, keep away from the Centaur, come back at him with a battering ram. He's now weak enough to kill. And I tried to grab him, but unfortunately they grabbed me. And I tried to grab him again, but I stomped on that guy. I'm going to grab him, kill him. And then it's just a matter of grabbing the other guys, using them as battering rams, and clearing out the entire horde. And then we can move up to the actual hard part of this encounter. And this entire thing serves as a prelude to the Cronos boss fight. And Cronos, in my opinion, is an overhyped boss. To me, Cronos is a big nothing burger. There's so much wrong with his fight. There's a lot of like weird bugged sections where you're trying to like swing from one part to another. There's one section near the end of it where you have to run away from one of his hands that he's using to try and sweep you off his arm. And then you go to use a grapple, and sometimes while you're moving towards it, you'll end up going flying right over his shoulder and off the edge into nothing. And it's such a strange thing. There's a lot of problems I have with that fight, and I don't know why people think it's one of the best boss fights ever made and the best boss fight in God of War 3. I really don't understand why that is, because it isn't really a Cronos fight as much as it is just hit the weak point while dealing with every other enemy as the real boss fight type of thing. But there'll be no shortage of complaints from me in a moment. This was probably a mistake opening this up, but at the same time, I might as well, because you won't be allowed to come back here, funnily enough. So yeah, even if you beat this encounter, you can't run back down here. Now this is the Gates of Tisiphone, and in here you're going to be fighting one Chimera, but as soon as you clear out the first phase of that Chimera and cut the snake tail off, you'll have to fight another one. And in this walkthrough, it actually took me quite a while to get through this. Like, with the Cestus, you can do a lot of damage to it and it's fairly easy, but it's just such a shit encounter. I don't know if they artificially inflated their HP a little bit for this section, but again, for the earliest phases you can always use the Bow of Apollo just to mop up a bit of their health. Try to save as many of these bramble pots as you can, because they'll blow up anyway when the, when the Chimeras get into that phase and they shoot fireballs at it, so it's a little tricky. They'll hurt themselves, sure, but you'll want to save it for when both of them are together and they're all bunched up. But if you get near the bramble pots and they explode, they don't do any damage to you, so you don't have to worry about that. So I just want to get this thing over and done with, and so I'm trying to swipe at the guy in the last phase, the Chimera there, and I use the end of the square attack combo with the blade, which I argued not to do, but I do it because it clears the distance between myself and the Cerberus, because it's just dashing all over the place. Luckily he got right in the face of the bramble pot, so I did that. I accidentally did a head of Helios, and I panic, and I used the Cestus, and I got some damage off. This is not an easy fight, it's a lot harder than it looks, but feel free to go crazy with the Blade of Olympus, because stupidly enough, and another reason why I hate the Cronos boss fight, is because at the very end of it, when you had to cut his belly open, what'll end up happening is you had to push L3 and R3, and it doesn't matter if you have a full Rage of Sparta meter, or you have nothing at all, it will still use whatever Rage of Sparta you have left. So you're basically emptying your entire Rage of Sparta from full to nothing for a stupid little boss gimmick, so you might as well just waste it all here and get through this. Such a stupid encounter. And I really hate that it does that to you. Because while the Rage of Sparta doesn't really come in useful much early on, it's still something that doesn't get full until like a couple more parts further down the line in this walkthrough. So you're emptying your rage for almost nothing. See, I'm trying to wait for him to get close enough to the bramble pot, but he's being an absolute coward, so I just move in close enough so I can see him, and just keep hitting him with the bow if I can. But one-on-one, you've already fought one-on-one against him before, but the camera angle is a little weird here too, because he'll move towards where the camera is, and you can't really see if he's going to do a charge attack or if he's going to do the fire thing. In fact, I wish you could parry the whole fire. That fire spread he does, I wish you could parry that even if it was hard to do, but you can't, so it's just silly. And the only fast way you can get over that is just to jump over it, hope it doesn't hit your feet, and then just start hitting him again, because if you take too long and do anything else, he'll keep dodging away, and he's just such a nuisance. He has some red orbs and some gold orbs in that chest. I suppose if you're desperate enough you can use it for one blast. Oh, I tell a lie, you can go down there, but I accidentally used a health chest that I didn't need to use because I was already full on it pretty much. And if I'd gone back down there I could fill up my magic. But I'm basically full on magic anyway, so it's not going to be much for use. I skipped that puzzle part of the gates and opening them up, because you don't need any guidance for that. You just sort of wait for the harpies to move into place, use the Blades of Exile and get the grapple and fly them around to wherever you need to go to. And if the platform disappears under your feet, just hang tight in the air and wait till it comes back out again, and just push off the harpy before it explodes or before it tears itself apart. Now these are Centurions. They basically are Centurions the whole way through, but they take a lot more punishment. Funnily enough, there's a trophy where you've got to get a 1,000 hit combo. This is a great place to do it, because you get the Claws of Hades, and you go all the way down to the bottom of this pathway here, get every one of these Centurions to spawn, and just so you get all of them, make sure that they all follow you, and carefully lead them back up here, because some of them get caught on obstacles, and some of them decide to bugger off and go back down. If you can keep them all interested in trying to hit you, and you lead them all the way back up there, if you go close enough to the gates, they'll stop following you and just stand there looking at you. And so if you get close enough, you just use the Hyperion grapple with the Claws of Hades, and it does almost no damage to them. It does a little bit, but not too much. And you'll actually send out the skulls, and they'll circle around the enemies, and if you keep on doing that, then it'll cycle through tons of damage. But what I would recommend is maybe making sure that the Claws of Hades are still at level 1, so you don't do as much damage as you could have. Like I've done it before when I had the claws at level 3, and I barely did it. Still, it's a very long way to go about it, and I can't think of anywhere else you can get a 1,000 hit combo. And unfortunately, you can't go into the combat arena when you've beaten the game, and you can't just load up like tons of enemies and do the same thing with infinite magic, and you can't get your 1,000 hit combo that way. You have to do it in the actual game, which kind of sucks. So yeah, when you jump over this ditch here, go around to the right, and you'll find a Minotaur horn in a chest. Don't forget this. That's your second to last item bar upgrade. And so you just go up here, interact with the hand, and you'll move on to the Cronos boss fight. So I'm just going to go ahead and level up the Cestus and get it to level 4. But not enough to get it to level 5, unfortunately. That'll be probably in the next part or two. So I'll see you guys in the next chapter.